Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to DentonRadio.com tonight. We are here with my man Lofty right here. What's up, man? How you doing? Doing very well, man. We are tuned in right now on DentonRadio.com. You are watching a little program we call Sound Values, ladies and gentlemen, where we bring an aspiring or, I would say accomplished local artist on the program, and we talk to him about life, love, stress, setbacks, beats, snacks, music, the whole bit, guys. We do it all. So if you're watching right now and you like what you see, share the video on Facebook. Check it out. You can actually hear us right there. See, boom, we were talking. We got quite a few people already looking in. Daniel Diaz says, my boy. So shout out to Daniel. All right. So we're about to get the show underway. We're about to get all the questions started, man. Are you prepared?
Hey, I am emotionally and mentally prepared.
Good. It's about to get intense. All right. Now. All right. Okay, I've officially unmuted you because now I know that you're ready. You are prepared. Now, I got to ask, what do you think of the setup, man?
I'm really liking the fern back here, man.
Yeah, man.
It adds a very nice touch to it. It's very homey. Wow.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to do. I was like, how can I make this
rustic,
as comfortable as, a Steve Zissou lookalike,
Yeah.
Right on, man.
Exactly.
So let's go ahead. We're just going to jump right into the questions. Once again, you're on Sound Values here on DentonRadio.com. My name is Kind Beats. I'm here with my man Lofty. So we're going to go ahead and start it off, man. I'm going to ask you your first question. What is your first musical memory?
I would say definitely riding around in my mom's car listening to Stevie Ray Vaughan. And I would just get so hyped whenever I heard Stevie Ray Vaughan. And I don't know, I just couldn't stop dancing to it. And I just got really into the blues. And
Nice.
Actually, guitar was my first instrument. And so that was kind of the segue into that.
Very cool, man.
So,
Very cool. Hey, do me a favor. Put the mic a little bit closer.
I got
You
you.
speak so soft and sensual, dog.
Oh, man.
So we were saying Stevie Ray Vaughan rolling around here, Mom. So that's funny
Yeah.
because I was telling you mine was Garth Brooks.
Yeah.
So both of those kind of country legends right there.
Yeah.
I'd say Stevie's a bit more legendary than Garth.
Yeah.
A bit.
It depends on what demographic
Exactly.
you're talking to.
Yeah.
But,
Like if you're talking the guitarist wise, songwriter wise. I mean, Garth's got a few more years on Stevie, unfortunately, but these things happen. So very cool, man. So where did you grow up?
I grew up in Austin, Texas.
Okay.
So I was born and raised there.
Okay, very
So,
cool. What part of Austin?
North Austin.
Okay,
Yeah, so
right. So like
kind of the part that has no culture in it. So.
well, I used to work off of Anderson Lane.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I used to work at the Sun and Ski Sports, like right down there.
Huh.
And I
Why
lived,
am I just finding this out about you?
Well, I lived down there when I was in school. You know,
Okay.
like when I was first going to school.
I got you.
And how old are you, by the way?
I'm 23.
Okay, 23.
So, yeah,
right
but
on.
I'm a young
Right
buck.
on. So when I was down there, I was 20, so you were 14.
Oh,
you know,
okay.
to give you
Yeah.
an idea of why
Right
we
on.
weren't hanging out.
What was I doing when I was 14, man?
I don't know.
Oh God, very illicit things probably.
Who knows, man? Yeah, exactly. So you were born and raised in Austin.
Yes.
Okay, so how did you find your way to Denton?
Basically, I was just applying for schools,
Mm-hmm.
and UNT honestly seemed kind of like the most easy one
Yeah.
to get into, and so. Here I am. That was really all there was to it. I didn't really read into it much, but I'm really glad that I'm here.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
I think the first time that I actually met you was on the UNT campus by the library. I was hanging out with Christine. I think you were with Jordan.
Yeah. Ooh.
And I think
throwback.
that's like, I mean, this is probably almost 3 years, like 3 years ago.
Probably so.
Because and I think that's where I actually first met you and Jordan. Actually,
Were we like skateboarding, and was
Yeah.
there somebody DJing?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh wow.
I think that's what was going on.
So that was actually the first day I met J3.
Really?
Yeah. So
that is very
interesting.
that is very throwback
Okay,
right
yeah.
there. But yeah, that's where I can initially remember meeting you.
Shouts out to J3.
Yeah.
What's up?
So before you moved up to Denton, where you said you played guitar.
Yeah.
Did you ever play like in any like bands, punk rock bands, rock bands? You know, maybe you dabble in a little country here and there. You know?
Well, I played bass in a pop punk band called The Winning Season, and
All you
we
needed.
played. Yeah,
Yeah.
we played at our high school's talent shows and stuff like that. And but I mean, my main instrument really was trombone. It still is trombone.
Nice.
Yeah.
One of those two. Very cool.
I wish I remembered.
Those are both awesome spots
Yeah.
either way. you
Yeah,
know,
hazy
like,
memories.
Yeah,
So.
it happens. I think the first venue I actually played out here was at Andy's for
Yeah.
Utopia.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
There was that. Which that was a good
Was that 2
movie.
years ago?
Yeah, that would have been
Okay.
one 2 years ago. So yeah, good times.
Very good times.
Yeah, exactly, man. So you played. It was either Andy's or Abbey Underground, and then you kind of disappeared all of a sudden, dude. You went back to
Yeah.
Austin for a little while.
Yeah.
What was up with that? You know?
Yeah, I was just really just trying to get my money up and just kind of focus on myself. And so I kind of ducked off to Austin for a little bit,
sure,
you know. Was a little bit of a recluse, you know. A lot of people didn't hear from me in that time, but you know, it was necessary. Sometimes you just got to kind of fall back and
Yeah, for
regroup.
sure.
Yeah.
I think some of us wish we could do that a little bit more often than not.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You know, you
Uh-huh.
wish you could just, oh man, let's take a step back for a
Yeah.
second, and you know, and get away from it all.
Mm-hmm.
But there was a beat that you posted while you were gone, and it was from like like you had it. I think it was like this was the angle of your face. I think from the phone was like this.
Oh
And
yeah.
it was
I
like,
probably hit that self timer.
dude, that
Oh.
beat. I don't know where it is, but I want it.
Oh,
It
that's
was so
probably
good.
5 thou.
I don't know what it was, man, but I was like, oh,
Yeah, I know which one you're
man,
talking
what
about. I
is
think it
this?
might actually be on the flash drive that I gave you. So.
All right.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see
Yeah.
if it's there. We'll see if it's there.
Cool.
But yeah, man, that was awesome. So you spent a little bit of time in Austin. Did you play any shows while you were down there?
Technically.
Technically? Let's talk about technically.
Yeah, technically. I work with a crew called Gold School. It's kind of
Yep.
my mainstay in Austin. And so Doogie McDuff, one of the MCs in that crew, he had a show and I produced some of the beats for it. So, you know, I kind of rolled through with the entourage and, you know, we watched Doogie spit and all that. So it was, I kind of felt like I was performing because we
Yeah.
were, you know, getting live with Doogie.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, that's what's
Yeah.
up, man.
So-
I count it. I count it.
Cool.
So whenever y'all were playing at Andy's, you brought a lovely young lady on the stage. What was her name?
Soleil.
Soleil. So
Yeah.
how do you know her?
Yeah, so I was sponsored by LRG Clothing there for a little bit, and we did with Channel 10, which is another rap crew in the North Texas area. We linked up and did LRG Cypher with Poetic Justice at UNT, and so that was kind of how I got in with Channel 10.
Okay.
And so I just started hanging around with those cats like Drugs the Model Citizen, Tev Jinx, you know, Jay Luce and all that. And then just through them, I met Soleil and we just kind of like creatively hit it off. And she was asking me to DJ her shows. And I was like, hey, that's cool, but I'm not really like a DJ.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
I'm a producer first. So like, why don't
Yep.
we get it popping on some original stuff?
Yeah.
So that's that's a big focus of my music right now is working with Soleil.
And I'll tell you what,
So-
man, like that inspired me.
Cool.
Because I was like, that's so cool, and I'm loving the concept. And so, like, I immediately stole some of that and had a girl coming over the other day. And
Yeah,
I was like
great.
listening to some beats and doing
Yeah.
that, you know, because it just gets what it did is that it provided more of not just you in front of the computer. Because unfortunately, and you'll understand this, people they see you, but they don't see what you do behind the scenes.
Right, yeah.
They don't understand that the part of your performance is the work that you put in and then displaying it.
Yeah,
You don't see
absolutely.
Van Gogh and all the paint strokes. You just see what's in front of you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's impressive. Art, I think, is, you know, received a little bit differently, things visually compared to audible. You can comment on that if you like.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I would say that having her on stage almost gives you a bit more street cred or a bit more credibility in the eyes of other people
absolutely.
who aren't aware or don't have the knowledge of what you do behind the scenes in
Yeah.
order to create what's going on.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm, you know, first and foremost working with her because I love the music that we're making. But, you know, at the end of the day, it really does give more to the kind of performance aspect of it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it definitely takes it to a whole new level.
Yeah,
So,
man, and it was great.
Thanks.
You know, like I thought it was. I was highly impressed. I was like, this is what I'm
glad you liked
talking
it,
about.
man.
You know, and it wasn't just me. I mean, there were a lot of people who were asking about it. Who are these guys? Who are these people? Who are these people? And that was my favorite thing about that show was how many people wanted to know who everybody was who was playing. 'Cause
Yeah.
that meant there was some good music going on.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, that's something that me and Juicy the Emissary have discussed. As well as we will talk to you about trying to do something of a bit more of a beat collective, a bit more of a beat scene in the
Yeah,
area.
absolutely.
Once a month, once every 2 months, something like that,
Yeah.
hosting kind of an event. Because we think that just based on that night alone, that would actually grab a hold pretty well if you
Yeah,
did it once a month,
absolutely.
once every 2
Yeah.
months, and didn't flood the market with it too much. So let's talk your process as far as when you start to work on a beat.
Right.
Does it start with synths? Does it start with a sample? Does it start with a kit, the drums? What goes on?
It really depends. I would say it really just kind of starts with digging for sounds. And so every time I go into a new beat, it's going to be a different set of sounds that I'm looking for. And so sometimes it'll be percussive sounds, other times it'll be, you know, more synthesized keyboards and stuff like that. So it just really depends. I don't really sample a whole lot. So that's not a huge part of my process.
Yeah, okay.
But, yeah, I have about 100 gigs of software plugins for Reason that I downloaded probably a year ago, and I have probably searched through 20% of that. I make a lot of beats.
Yeah.
So
do you think, like, does it ever get frustrating because, or do you ever wonder, like, or does it, how do I word this? Does it ever get frustrating to commit to a beat for you? Like to say, okay, this is the sound, this is what I'm gonna do, because there are so many possibilities, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
And how do you overcome that struggle in the brain, you know?
I'm not really the kind of person that, I don't know, like really feels that pressure. I'm, you know, whatever I'm thinking, I'm gonna try and get it out onto the grid in whatever sound program I'm using. And, you know, as weird of an idea as it may be, I'm not really scared to pursue that.
Yeah.
'Cause I've made some really funky out there stuff. So yeah, I don't really feel like that's a constraint of mine.
Okay.
So
When you sit down to work on a track, do you have a concept in your mind of what you want it to sound like, or is it just kind of a free flow of ideas at first and you try to find something that you enjoy, that catches your attention?
usually it's kind of like I'll have some kind of like feeling inside of me that I'm, you know, I can't get it out.
Yeah, you get
So
those, yeah.
yeah, that's usually the inspiration for.
So and when you are producing, are you using, because I know you have a machine.
Yeah.
Do you use like a keyboard and sample it into the machine?
Oh,
or?
absolutely.
Okay, so
Yeah,
that's the process
Yeah,
right
so
there.
I'll bounce back and forth between Reason, Machine, Ableton, back and forth, you know.
multiple platforms.
platforms.
That's really cool. So you know how to use Ableton as well as Reason.
Yeah.
See, I strictly know Ableton, and I know a
Okay.
little bit of Fruity Loops. I obviously have friends who use Reason, but I've never
Yeah.
hung around when people are using Reason.
Word. Well, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, exactly, man. I got Ableton as a little free disc
Yeah.
with like my first
Sick.
MPC or whatever,
Sick.
you know, and just started from there. So you start with synths. Do you have any, like, I think like my favorite keys, like I love like E, like E major, and then like F sharp and like B sharp. Do you have anything personally that you like enjoy, that you come across? Like there are just certain notes that I hit, man, where I'm like, ooh, or keys.
yeah.
and
Oh,
s-
absolutely.
yes.
Okay, so I'm a trained musician.
Yeah.
Like classically trained. But I haven't looked at sheet music in such a long time that at this point I just play what sounds right. And
Yeah.
a lot of times I don't know what I'm playing, and I'll go back once it's time to like mix and master, and you know the engineer that I'm working with will be like, hey, what key is this in? And I'll have to like literally have to pull out my guitar and like find the root notes, and I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, this is in C. So
Yeah, with Ableton, it like shows you what each note is. But
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I have no idea what I'm doing.
yeah,
either.
I
Like,
honestly, I mean, I use the piano roll, but I don't really pay attention too much to it.
it's
so.
because I'm not classically trained. You know, I mean, I
Yeah.
do what you do, but I couldn't read music. I don't know a C from a D from no matter what.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like I put my hands on the guitar, I have no idea what I'm playing. I know what a G is, I think.
Yeah.
You know, I can play it. I just never specifically learned it. You know, I learned from tabs.
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
And that's how I learned to
So-
play. So I use that piano roll because it allows me to study what I just played, and then I can learn that way.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, it's just
Or-
for me,
yeah.
it's just so taken out of context at that point that I'm literally just playing what sounds right
Yeah.
to me. So
And it was Jared, you know, Juice, the other side of Gangster Lean.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for him, I would never be making beats like now. Because
Yeah.
he was the one who finally like told me like the stuff I was making was
man.
terrible.
he's
like,
the big
you,
homie
he's
for
like,
sure.
You got to stop
So,
doing the same 16 notes over
Yeah.
and over again. Take this keyboard and go away.
Yeah,
for a
right.
while. You know. So what do you got going on now, man? What's in the mix, man? What do we got?
So with Gold School, I just dropped 3 rounds in the ATX.
Man,
and
I gotta ask. Actually, I'm sorry to interrupt because
Yeah.
I meant to ask you. Talk to me about Gold School real quick because
Yeah.
I've seen that. I know that you're a part of that. Tell me more about Gold School.
yeah, so that's a collective that we founded in more or less 2012. So
Okay.
pretty much as I was coming up to Denton, and like the summer before I left for Denton. So that's comprised of Chad One Love. He's a rapper, and audio engineer. We got Doogie McDuff, MC, and aspiring engineer. And we got some other people that are affiliated with it. Like we got Allianz actually out of France, and he's a really cool guy. He's a really good rapper. We got some cats in Alaska too. Matt Engler, Tack Havoc, Johnny Kohler. Shouts out to all those guys.
Very cool, man.
So yeah, it's just kind of Trinity Beats too. I
gotta hit these guys. I gotta give these guys a follow on the SoundCloud.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, all very, very quality stuff. So it's just kind of a collective, and we're all kind of in different areas, trying to more or less conquer our environments in the scene. So
for sure, man, for sure. So would you say like that Denton, because I talked about this the other day, how people ask, does Denton affect your music? Does the city itself? Would you say living here, does that have a specific pull on your music? Does it have a specific influence?
Yeah.
Basically, does kind of the city and the area that you're in, anywhere, any environment you're in, does that affect your music? Because some people say, no, it's my own headspace,
Yeah, so yes and no to that, because I think a lot of Dentonites, we just kind of hang out in coffee shops and stuff.
Yeah.
And you would think that I'd be making like really chill music in coffee shops, but sometimes I'll be making like really, ratchet, like trap music, So yes and no. Like sometimes I'll feel like the kind of sluggish, sleepy college town vibes.
Yeah,
and that'll
yeah,
kind of translate into my music a little bit, and so I'll take it down to like 95 BPM or something.
What is like your BPM that you like to work at?
Okay, so I got two that I'm a really big fan of.
Yeah.
And it's anywhere in between these, but 95 and 120.
Yeah.
So I really like it because whenever you open up any Ableton Reason, it just automatically defaults to 120.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yeah.
yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
I would argue that maybe that's how like the new age house music came along, is nobody knew how to change the
You're probably right.
Just leave it at
that.
120, I guess,
Yeah.
like because quite a bit, if you have slower trap music is in 120 and then bounces around in there. Yeah, man, I would say like I'm 88 to 110, like 115, so we're right in there together. In there together, I had a buddy who would tell me that like the sweet spot for boom bap hip hop is 88. 88
I would
BPM.
Definitely agree.
That's the sweet spot. He's like 90's a little too fast, 88's just right. I'm like, all right, man.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Set BPM to 88. Righteous, man. So you tend to stick to things that in my mind have a bit more hip hop, but you said you have 120. So when you go up to stuff that's around 120, are you doing things that are a bit more on like a 4/4, like 4 to the 4 rhythm, or is it just kind of more like a spaced out or like a slower kind of trap beat in a way,
Yeah, definitely like a slower kind of trap beat, but last spring I produced UT's fashion show.
Okay.
And so that actually got me on a house tip too, and so that's like you said, a good house range tempo. And so what I'll do is it's like kind of like house builds, and then I'll drop it on some trap, and I just feel like that's like my calling in life right there.
There you go, dude. Well, stick with it. It's going good, man.
Appreciate it.
So I remember when you posted about that. So you produced the music for the fashion show?
Yeah.
Dude, that is all. How did you get that gig?
So my friend Hira Jethwa that I went to high school with, shouts out to Hira, what's up? And she's in the fashion design program at UT, and so that 2016 they were going to be putting on a really big like event. They had the Frank Irwin Center rented out. Wow. And it was like 500-600 people in attendance, and myself and Daniel Sahad, we got selected by the members of the UT fashion program to produce the music.
Wow,
and
that's awesome.
It was really great. Like we had to get all legally squared away with ESPN, and so I became like a temporary content provider for ESPN. So that was cool.
Yes, that's what I like to hear. Well, man, with that information, we got to play some of your music now, man.
Absolutely.
Now, personally, let's see here, man. So you can choose, man, because right here it looks like we got Continental, 4 p.m.
Hit that sound values folder.
Where we got that?
Yeah, that
right
one
there?
right there.
Hit
that incline joint.
Where is incline?
1, 2, 3, right there.
All right, let's make sure we're not too loud or anything here. All right.
Yeah.
I'm going to mute us real quick, all right? This is fresh, man.
Appreciate that.
Yeah. Like I said, ooh. And see, man, like, I mean, people can call that vaporwave, but I have a different view of like vaporwave in a way. Like, I mean, it's wavy, but it just doesn't have that. Like, I feel like vaporwave is a bit more playful.
Yeah.
You know, it's a bit more like video game music in a way.
Yeah,
That's how I picture vaporwave. Like this
Windows
to me.
95.
And like right here, you have like a.
Yeah.
Very quietly, dude. Mixed very quietly in the back of that.
Ever so slightly, you know.
And those are the little things that I like to listen for, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I dig that. Yeah, that's that good.
Hey,
That's what's up,
that,
man. Yeah, dude. If you guys are well, hey, yeah, if you're turning into Sound Values right now, if you are tuning into Sound Values right now, I'm here with my man Lofty. We're kicking it, enjoying some beats made by him, produced by him, created by the luxurious mind. So, man,
hey, you should hit that Wave Runner joint.
You know, because that was actually just what I was about to say. Be like, what was up with that Wave Runner? Now, you and Dirty Chin put this one together, right? And I actually had him on the program recently, and we had a good old time talking, man. He was. That's what I love about it, man, is you get people in here and you finally have, like, a conversation.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because, like, I mean, you and I have hung out. We've talked and stuff. Yeah. But, like, you know, sometimes I get people in here. I'm like, I've actually never, like, had the moment to speak to you because you're either playing a show and I'm working, or I'm working and I'm playing a show, or one of the two or the other. You know? So let's check out that Wave Runner joint right now. This is a personal favorite right here.
Shouts out to Etchy Beats, boy.
I love that one, man.
Hell yeah, that's one of my favorite.
Like, so, did y'all actually sample Wave Runner?
Yeah,
with that.
Yeah, it's like the arcade game or something.
Yeah,
like
and
that.
did you was that da-na-na-na-na-na more of like the single notes?
No, actually, that was Dirty's idea, right?
Nice, very cool.
Yeah, he had the vision for that line.
Good harmonizing on that one for sure.
Yeah,
that's what's up, man. So what happened? Like, tell me the story about that song. Yeah, because like Jared loves that song, Juice loves that song. Like, I love that song, and it's got a lot of plays on SoundCloud too.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah,
so,
I think I got like 3,000 plays on that.
Yeah, so tell me about that too.
Yeah, I just sat down with Dirty Chin. Well, Dirty Chin back in the day. It's a little Dirt now. And we were just wanting to collaborate on a beat. We were over at Jordan's house. We were like, man, we've known each other for so long. We haven't collaborated on a beat. And so he just had like a folder of samples. And, you know, it was a pretty organic way of coming about things. And so we just kind of started flipping that. And I was like, ooh, that's fire right there. And, just pretty simple. Just add some drums, couple other lines, some Rhodes keyboards.
Yeah, definitely. It sounded good, man. It sounds real good.
Yeah.
You know, like I remember when that came out, I was just like, "What is this?" And I clicked on it. And I was like, "Man, this is actually this is really good." Like I gotta go play me some Wave Racer now, man.
Yeah, right.
Because as soon as that was just nostalgia, like remembering that game.
Exactly.
Because I think that was like a game that came with N64 when you bought it.
Oh, word.
Like I think you got Mario and N64, and then you got Wave Racer when you bought N64. Yeah, I mean that game came out. Actually, that console came out.
I did not even have an N64 growing up. It's like I came to college and that was the first time I played N64.
I bought an N64 and then I sold it to buy a paintball gun.
Oh, nice!
Because I got
that's
older.
a pretty good investment.
And then there was more fun to do than play video games after a while. You know, shoot people with paintballs.
Yeah,
you know, that was a good time.
Dude, exactly.
Exactly. It was fun. It was more fun to inflict pain on your friends really than beat them in like WWE wrestling.
Oh
yeah. Way better that way, man.
Yeah.
So I want to listen to a few more of these beats, man.
Let's see. What do we got?
You know what?
Yeah, hit that first one, Broad Daylight.
All right.
Yeah, so this is kind of what I was talking about. House build up into some trap.
Okay.
You know. You know, pretty bouncy.
Oh yeah. See? That's intriguing how you do that.
Yeah, it's just I think it gives it a nice flow.
No, it does, and I think people, it's the energy that provides. It's like you're bouncy, and then all of a sudden it's like you just you're just gliding along. You know, it's like in 24 Karat Magic when Bruno Mars changes to the very, you know, it's that 24 karat.
Yeah,
you know, it's kind of like that when he slows it down like that on you. You're like, ooh.
Yeah.
Man, when I was DJing the other night, this girl came up and asked me to play a Bruno Mars song that I'd never heard of before that was off at 24 Karat, and I wish I could remember it.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like
an album cut?
Yeah, it was just like a piece, a song from it. And she was like, can you play that? And I was like, give me a minute and I'll get it for you.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, man, I'll remember what this song is and like tell you to listen, because it was bumping.
Yeah.
Like there's very few times where as a DJ I walk up to somebody and be like, yo, that request was awesome.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, Bruno Mars is...
Yeah, he's got some skill. I mean, and like what he's doing now compared to like the Lazy song, like dude, he's bringing some serious funk and like some serious well-produced funk. Like where I hear these songs, I'm like, dude, this would take hours, like days. You'd be in the studio forever recording a song like this. You know,
got nothing but respect for Bruno Mars.
You know, so how long does it take for you to make a beat? You know, just I mean, I'm sure that just depends.
Yeah, anywhere from like 30 minutes to 3 or 4 hours, you know, anywhere in between, really. It's just kind of, you know, if I have my vision all in order, I'll just sit down and I'll know exactly what I need to do and I'll just knock it out. You know, sometimes it's pretty premeditated like that, but then sometimes, you know, you got to sit there and dig through some sounds for a really long time.
Yeah, for sure. What is your favorite time of day to sit down and write some music?
Oh, definitely. I actually schedule my classes so I'm on campus in the mornings, so I'll have some time in between in the mornings. So definitely in the morning.
And that's something that one of my favorite producers is this guy named Il Gates. He always says, he's like, if you're gonna write, if you have a day off and you plan on working on music, like wake up and start working right away.
Yeah.
And the creative juices flow much better than you would actually realize.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I was talking to JD from Biographies, the band Biographies,
Right.
yesterday, and he was saying the same thing. He's like, yeah, like my creative juice, it flows the best when I like first wake up and get going.
And the good thing about it for me is, you know, being a producer, I can take my laptop anywhere, and it kind of
I like what's going on right there.
It's nice. Appreciate that. But you can take your laptop anywhere, and it's kind of necessary for me to be in the middle of the hustle and bustle of things.
Yeah.
And so like I just gotta get that energy from around me. And so that, you know. So I guess, you know, the town does kind of contribute a lot to my beats. You know, going back to the earlier question.
Yeah,
so,
exactly. And that's something that I was asked. Now, a question that I'll ask you, and I actually got asked this question, and I loved the question. Since you moved here, how have you seen the music scene change in Denton?
Well, definitely, there's been venues shutting down, which is really sad. But I'm really liking seeing a lot of you know, unconventional venue spaces, you know, picking up the slack.
Like where we were at the at the Midway Mart.
Yeah, Midway Craft House. I think Oriental Garden is actually they're doing some shows.
Nice.
You know, Sprocket's just down the road.
Yeah, they do stuff too.
So it's really nice to see places like that, and you know, I think actually the house show scene has kind of gotten more.
Yo, I got a secret.
More bumping.
I heard J&J's might be coming back.
All right.
I heard the basement might be coming back.
Right
so
on.
we had the closing down. Now we got to reopen it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was like, that was just a good business strategy, man. Because I showed up and bought all the Peronis.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I remember it, dude. Yeah.
I was like, I'm here and
I'm pretty sure you bought me like 3 Peronis.
I was like, I'm here and I have a mission.
Yeah.
Buying all those Peronis. Buying those for everybody in this place right
That would be one of the greatest Houdini acts of the century right there, you know?
Yeah, that would be awesome, man.
Yeah.
All right, dude. So we still have some more music to listen to, so I'm going to just choose, and I'm going to pick Did It To Him.
Okay, cool.
That's the one we're going with. So we gotta just discuss what you just said because it cracked me up. We gotta talk about the difference in head nods.
Right.
This is
a very important matter.
We gotta talk about the difference in head nods from DJs and producers. So what is the difference?
All right. So DJ's just kind of regular jamming.
Yeah.
And then a producer is like before the beat.
It's like that full and it's not just your head.
It's like you gotta, it flows through your body.
You gotta like be like a worm with it or something.
Like your body doesn't work right or something.
So. I think the guy's malfunctioning on stage.
Yeah.
These things can happen. These things can happen. Well, man, so I got some surprises for you down here, dog.
Okay.
I went and got you some records.
Young Nardwar.
And yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Doc. So now
the Nardwar of
the
Denton.
first piece that I grabbed you was the K9 Posse.
What?
Because just look at these homies, dude.
Dude, look at these homies.
I was like,
This is amazing.
This is too fresh to
This
not
is way
to
too
not
fresh.
grab.
I don't know what this is, but
neither do
this
I.
is going to be on constant repeat.
Yeah,
You already know.
And then we have Buck Wild right here.
Yes, I love Buck Wild.
Because how can you say no to 99-cent Buck
Oh,
Wild?
dude, Buck Wild.
And then we also have Gary Tom's Empire 7654321
Sick.
Blow Your Whistle.
Dude.
You know, I mean, how can you pass that up? And now this one, I just couldn't pass up because this right here says it's from the upcoming Rough Riders Interscope release.
Oh,
and
wow.
it says, "Who's That Girl?" Produced by Teflon. In stores 3/6/2001.
Wow.
So
Dude, these are some finds right here.
yeah,
man.
dude, $16 right there, or
Dude.
16 years old.
Yeah.
There you go, bro.
Wow. I
Yeah,
appreciate
man.
that,
So
man.
so yeah, dude, I was like, you know what?
Hooked it
I
up.
got to pick up the homie some records, dude, and
Put
and
your
like,
boy
I-
on game.
I walked in and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna find what speaks Luke P to me. You
Oh,
know?
yeah.
And so one of the things. Yeah, I mean, as soon as I saw the guys on the back of that, I was like,
Yeah.
that's just too money, man. Like,
I know.
the biker
Dude, they got
hats
the
and everything.
fits on. They got the fits,
Let
boy.
me show this real close
Yeah.
up for y'all who maybe can't actually see this. This is absolutely incredible stuff here. I must say so myself. So y'all make sure that you check out the K9 Posse. I mean, like, we have dudes in Denton who wear those hats. You know?
Yeah.
Y'all start sporting the
And
chains.
they just
and-
don't know how fresh it is. Yeah.
Dude, so
They
good.
probably don't
man.
even think they're fresh
So
wearing
good.
that.
And so speaking of fresh, man, you have the freshest Facebook statuses.
Oh, dude.
Of
I tried,
anybody.
man. I'm put these right here.
How do you? And first off, how do you come up with them? And where do these things in your mind come from, man? Because it's unlike anything I've ever read or heard before.
Yeah, I don't really know about that, man. I'll sit there and I'll think, like, what's going to make people just, like, I don't know, just get confused,
Crack up.
you know? I'm just trying to confuse people out here. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, Facebook is used for, you know, not really a lot of fun things.
Yeah,
a lot of
I know
times.
exactly
Like,
what you're
people
talking
just
about.
arguing and
Yeah.
just getting into politics and stuff, and so I'm just trying to, like, give Facebook a whole nother use.
Yeah, dude. I mean,
like,
you just have some that
so-
just kill me, man. And like every once in a while, I get inspired and I got to write something silly on
yeah,
mine
you
too.
just got to write something
You
silly
know?
sometimes. So.
Yeah, I mean, it'll just be like, it's like
You
you had
know.
that one that was about like your chemistry crush the other day or something
Oh,
like that.
yeah. Well, I was actually, this is a true story. I was doing sound for Mae Jemison, who is the first black woman to go to space. And she came to UNT, and I was miking her up, and she pulled out this really sick Kate Spade computer bag. And I was like, okay, she's got her bag game on point, and so I had to make a comment on it, and so we just ended up talking about Kate Spade handbags there for a minute.
That's
and,
what's up, dude.
so I like to kind of embellish little bits here and there, just for the sake of a good Facebook status.
I mean,
because I don't think people think that I actually had this conversation with Mae Jemison. But I definitely did.
Well, see, that one felt more realistic than than some of the other stuff, man. Like, or like I don't know, some of the squad pictures in the turtleneck that I've seen.
Oh, yeah.
it's so good, man.
Yeah.
Even Jared has called me and been like, dude, can you explain to me what's wrong with Luke P right now?
Dude,
I'm like, what do you
what
mean?
What is not wrong with Luke P?
He's like, his Facebook statuses are off the charts right now.
Nah, it's just, I do this for the culture.
Yeah, man.
I'm doing this for the culture.
Yeah.
And for the impoverished youth. So they just need a role model right now.
I know,
and so
I know.
Luke P's
You
got
know
to
what?
step up to the plate.
K9 Posse can be your role model.
Yeah, K9 Posse is those are my role models.
Now.
And so that's going to trickle down into the impoverished youth of America.
For sure. Dude, it's just something that I just remember. I wish I could remember the first one that I saw.
Oh, yeah. I wish I
know?
could remember. I mean, we could figure
Because
that
like
out
I've even,
somehow, but-
like I said, man, like I try sometimes. I'm like, maybe I'll get my Luke P on right now and type
Yeah,
something
you
that's
know
kind
what
of
I'm saying?
silly and
So-
funny, but it just never turns out as good or as hilarious as some of the stuff that you've come up with, man.
Yeah.
Like it kills me, dude.
Yeah.
So please continue doing it because it
yeah,
cracks me up.
I will continue
If you
to
want,
do that.
if people want to unfollow you for that, they can go ahead and do it.
Well, actually, I felt that it's been a really almost good branding tool for myself and
Oh, yeah,
my
dude.
music
Yeah.
almost is because people look forward to my Facebook status updates and I'll talk about my shows as Lofty like in my my regular Luke P talk, and then I don't know, people seem to enjoy it, so
That's what's up.
yeah.
That's so good, dude. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, they crack me up. They crack me up. Well, man, we got
glad.
9 minutes left.
Cool.
Time flies by super fast here, man. So let's go ahead. We've talked about a lot of things, man. We talked about how you're from Austin. You lived
Yes.
in the north side of Austin. Played trombone. You played bass guitar. You moved up to Denton to go to school up here. You were going for visual and multimedia arts. Which I've seen quite a bit of it and thoroughly enjoy it. Love the music too,
Thanks,
so
man.
if you ever combine those two together.
I'm actually trying to keep it separate.
Okay.
Yeah,
There
completely
you go.
separate. I have a I need to launch the website, but it's going to be lukepetersonartist.com. And so, yeah,
Very
it's going to
cool.
be completely separate because I didn't know how to combine the two because I'm feeling like with my music I'm able to like reach kind of like a younger audience, I guess.
Okay, yeah.
And like I don't know, but the art side of it is kind of like a more abstracted kind of like something
Gotcha.
for the art heads out
Yeah,
there.
exactly. Yeah.
And so stuff that you might see in my art will definitely not make sense the first go around, whereas like you'll get it the first time with my music.
Yeah, the
You'll be like,
beats are a little
this
bit-
is a banger right
Yeah,
here.
the beats are a little make a little bit
Yeah.
more sense in a way,
Yeah.
It computes mathematically.
Right. Exactly.
So one question I haven't asked actually is about the name Lofty. Let's explain that name.
Right. So that is actually one of my favorite words in the English language.
Okay.
I just had like a really nice ring to it. And so the video game that I grew up playing was Spyro the Dragon.
Okay.
And on the first game, the self-titled release, there's a level called Lofty Castle. And the music on that level is like my favorite in the entire game.
Okay.
And so I had this connotation with the word lofty ever since that. Like every time I heard it, I would just like
Nice. Yeah, just enjoy
yeah,
that word.
I just very much enjoy that word, and I have it's kind of linked to like the early days of me expressing myself
and I feel like it
creatively.
describes the
So,
music too in a way,
Yeah.
because lofty to me has kind of this like the word is kind of airy and flowing and open, and I would say that would kind of describe your music to me in
Right.
a way. It is very flowing and like people say wave. I would say wavy, but I'm not going the vapor wave route
Right.
yet. I'm
You know,
just gonna say it's more synth
absolutely.
wavy. I would put it more on a chill trap level than I would on vaporwave
Yeah,
personally.
absolutely.
But that's just myself.
Yeah.
So man, we're getting close to the very end of the night. Like I said, we've talked where you're from, we've talked about the music, we've talked Tron Collective, we've talked shows. Do we have any upcoming projects that are going on?
Yeah, so I'm with Soleil.
Okay.
I'm actually our group name is called Hayella, and so we're in the mixing and mastering process.
Very
of,
cool.
Getting our first release out there. So
Awesome.
It's gonna be really epic, and we're not actually sure on a name for the release yet.
Okay.
But we have a lot of really great material that's I'm really looking forward to sharing with everybody.
Awesome.
So-
Are we going to hear anything on the 18th?
There's gonna definitely be some new music on the 18th.
Very cool, very
So-
cool. So on the 18th, if you guys are wondering maybe what's going on the 18th, you can actually catch Lofty in Fort Worth at the Grotto. Music's going to start at 9 o'clock. It's going to be $5 to get in. I actually haven't figured out the time slot